Hi you guys, it's April from April and Davey, and today I wanted to talk to you guys a little bit about our feeding routine and just kind of how I do things with my kids. A lot of you have been asking about if we have a schedule or how I got her to sleep through the night, because she's pretty much sleeping through the night. She'll definitely do like a 6-hour stretch every night, but most of the time I can get her to do a 7 to 9 hour stretch. So for me, that's sleeping through the night at this age because they're so little. And all of my kids by 9 weeks have done that. By the age of 9 weeks, they've all been able to sleep pretty much through the night. They've been good sleepers. And I don't know if that's just genetics or if it's something that I'm doing. But I thought that I would make this video just in case it is something that I'm doing, because really I don't know. I think that the whole parenting thing is a guessing game, sadly. We can get good tips and do our best, but we really are. Most of us are trying our very best to do what's right and the best for our kids. So with that said, if you feel that something I've said doesn't work for you, then don't do it, because really I feel like each individual parent is equipped and should be able to evaluate and receive inspiration for their specific kid, because they are all so very different. There's so many things that come into play: personality, genetics, everything. I mean, so really what works for my kid might not work for yours, but just in case you needed some new ideas to try, here we go. Yes, I'm nursing right now. Let's see, she needs to burp. Okay. Here's the little schedule that I try to keep with my kids. I'm not super strict on it, obviously, because I have 5 kids. Even with my first, I feel like with my first I was a little bit more on top of things as far as like watching the clock and writing down like a schedule of his feeding schedule that day. But it changed day to day because my day would change and when he would wake up in the morning would change. So everything would always kind of roll with whatever was going on. And so that was my first tip, is to not be so stuck to one schedule that it drives you crazy and that you stress about it. You need to think enough about it to make sure that they're getting enough food and sleep or whatever, but not obsess over it to where it's driving you crazy. So that's my first tip. Second of all, what I would do is I followed a pattern that I read it in the Baby Wise book, and I read that book and I did not agree with everything in it. It felt a little bit too extreme for me personally, but I did like the pattern that it outlined in the book of the eat, awake, then sleep pattern. So when I feed my babies, you can see that she just woke up from a nap and then I fed her, then I burped her, and then I try to play with them and have some awake time, or put them in a bouncer or in the swing, and we like let the kids hold her right after I nurse her and just kind of play with her for a few 30 minutes, whatever, until she seems like she's fussy or tired again. At that point, I would wrap her up, swaddle her, and lay her down in her crib and let her fall asleep on her own, which at that point, all of my babies have been so tired from being played with that they'll just naturally fall asleep while I'm holding them, or they actually want to be put down. They're kind of just like, put me down, I'm tired. So my kids, that's how they've reacted, is I lay them down, I walk away, they just close their eyes and drift off on their own. If they were crying, obviously I would assess the situation and either feed them or hold them or whatever. I just kind of listen to what they're doing. But that's kind of been the pattern, is feed them, play with them, have awake time, and then let them fall asleep on their own. And then at that point, they usually would sleep for a good 2 or 3 hour stretch when they're little, like 2 hours, and that's great. So if they would sleep longer than 2 hours when they were like in the first 2 to 3 months of life, I would wake them up after their 2-hour nap because they needed to eat again. And newborns don't stay awake very often anyway, so that's what I would do. And during the daytime, I wouldn't let my newborns sleep longer than 2 hours at a time, just because they need to get that nutrition. And also, they need to be able to get into that deeper sleep to grow, but I don't want them to get that deep sleep growing stage during the day. I want them to crave that and get it at night. So I would make sure that I was waking them up for every 2 hours to feed them. And even if I had to strip them naked and wipe them down with baby wipes to keep them awake while I fed them when they were teeny, I would like kind of do whatever I could, tickle their feet, get their hair wet, give them a bath. Like, I just needed to keep them awake long enough to eat, which is a struggle sometimes, especially if they're like little when they're born, because they have a harder time staying awake. But yeah, so 2 hours was my limit during the day that I would like make sure, if you just set a little timer on your phone or a reminder, If it goes a little bit over, not a big deal, but that totally helps. So then when they wake up, they're very hungry because they've been sleeping for 2 hours. So it's easier to feed them and they're awake and they're hungry. So that's just my little tip. I've noticed that if I tried to nurse them to sleep, then they were already tired when I'd start to nurse them, and then they wouldn't eat very good. They'd just kind of like take like 10 sucks and then fall asleep. And then I lay them down, and then in 30 minutes they wake up because they're hungry. And then they're tired and hungry, and it's just kind of like a bad cycle to get into. So that's always worked really well for me. Let me know in the comments below if you guys have followed a similar pattern, or if I kind of want to know what you think about that pattern. Does it work for you? Have you ever tried it? If you haven't tried it, are you going to try it? Let me know. Comment below and give me your thoughts on that pattern. So the sleep and then eat and then awake pattern. Other than that, they've slept in their own crib, and this is something that I'm not judging other moms that sleep with their kids. Like, if they feel like that's safe and that's what's right for their kids, then go for it. I do not care. Like, what you do with your kid is, seriously, like I said, you need to decide what's best for you and your kid. For me, what's best for me and my kids is having them sleep in their own cribs, in their own room. I cannot sleep with them in my bed. Like, I've taken little naps with my babies before, and that's been okay. If I'm like exhausted and holding them, I can kind of doze off. But for some reason, if I try to sleep through the night with them, even in a bassinet by my bed, I can't sleep well. It's like I can hear their breathing, and their little, like, every little movement wakes me up, and I'm like stressing about it. So that's why I love having a baby monitor, and even the Owlet sock has been huge for me because I can put those things on her, put her in her own room where I can't hear if there's little, like, I'll leave her door and our door open, so there's like a hallway. I can hear if anything's going on, but I'm not close enough to hear like the little breathing or like sniffs or little and then she goes back to sleep. Like, none of that wakes me up. But if she does cry even a little bit, I do hear it and I come right in. Like, I'm not a huge fan of letting your baby cry it out. I know that sometimes that's the only thing you can do because you've tried everything else, and like, that's the last option. And I feel like we do that sometimes as parents. We just try everything, and even at the last resort, we're like desperate and we try something that's just crazy. But I've never felt good about just leaving my kid in the crib screaming. Like, it breaks my heart and I can't hear it. I have let them do it for like 5 to 10 minutes sometimes because it was the last resort. Like, well, I tried to feed you and change you and hold your tummy and burp you and giving you Tylenol because if your teeth hurt, like, I've tried everything. At this point, I just need to let you lay down, and I give them 5 minutes. I will set a timer on my phone and just be like, I'm going to give myself mostly and them 5 minutes. And most of the time, after 5 minutes, they'll fall asleep. If not, I'll come in and comfort, nurse, whatever, try to calm them down, and then lay them down again. And if that doesn't work, do another 5 minutes. But that's a rare occasion. But yes, it has worked for me before. So that's kind of my approach of letting them cry it out, is just kind of like setting a timer after I've tried everything else, and 5 or even 10 minutes if you feel like they need a little bit longer time, or if you need more time. Because there's nothing scarier than a mom that's exhausted and at her wit's end and having a screaming baby in her ear. Sometimes we, as moms, we just need a timeout. So don't feel too bad if that's what you need to do. If you need to set your baby calmly in the crib, walk out and get out of earshot and just take 10 minutes, then you can do that. That's fine. In fact, that's safer than the other options of just trying to hold them and bounce them and getting more and more frustrated, because sometimes they just need to cry. So those are my tips, you guys. I hope this helped you, and I hope that you guys can relate, because mom life is not always easy, but it is very rewarding, and I seriously feel so very blessed to be able to have these 5 children. I love every single one of them. Each one of them is unique and has their own personality, and I'm loving getting to know this little girl. She has been such a blessing, and she's super sweet. And that's about it. She needs to eat on the other side now. Thanks so much for watching, you guys. I hope this video was helpful to you, and let me know in the comments below what you guys think. Make sure you give this video a big thumbs up, and make sure that you guys watch our daily vlogs also. Please please, please do not forget to go and follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, because we would love to interact with you guys there also. And have a great day, you guys. Bye. Say bye.